Hello again guys, and welcome back to my channel, The Poetry of Nice. So today I'm really excited to share with you my 10 favorite thrifted finds from 2019. I'm a little bit overexcited about this video just because it was so fun to relive all of the awesome and weird and random stuff that I managed to thrift throughout this past year, and I'm really excited to share that with you guys, and you can see how hopefully the profit can come from the strangest of places. So what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to hop on over to my laptop and I'm going to show you the actual items. Some of them are my actual listings and some of them I've just had to pull up an example because unfortunately on eBay they tend to roll off after 3 months, and so I couldn't show you my exact sales, but they're all items that have been featured in my haul videos and my sales videos throughout the year, and they're my absolute favorite finds that I managed to lay my hands on while out treasure hunting this year. Alright you guys, so as promised, here are my 10 favorite thrift finds of 2019. The way that I'm thinking of them, I suppose, isn't really to do with like how much money I made on them. This isn't really about profit. This is purely the things that I found last year when I was out thrifting at yard sales and rummage sales and thrift stores and all that kind of stuff that I just thought was really cool. The kind of stuff that I really enjoy picking up, and things that are kind of obscure to me that I hadn't known about until I found them, and I enjoyed learning about them, and I just thought that they were a cool treasure to be found. So number one is pull-up dolls. I actually found 2 of these this year at the same rummage sale. I paid $1 for both of them together. I had no idea what they were. They're very interesting to look at, as you can see from what's on my screen right now. They have very large, like oversized eyes. Anyway, it turns out they're collectibles. I found this one here that I have pulled up. She was the monochrome or sepia Alice in Wonderland. And I also found one from Sailor Moon as well. Like I said, I paid $1 for both of them at a rummage sale. I grabbed them simply because I thought they were cool. They were tagged in a way that made me think they might be sort of like higher end in terms of collectibles and dolls go. And I was right. They were in okay condition, but they had some wear, like there was some discoloration to the hands. The hair was having some matting, that kind of thing, because they'd obviously been played with or something. And they still both sold on eBay, each in the $40 to $80 range per doll. And they sold within sort of a month or to a month and a half of being listed. So they were a good fast sale. They were a good profit that I managed to turn on them, but also they were just really fun to learn about and really cool dolls. So that's my first item. My next item is, and these are in no particular order, this Polly Pocket set. So I actually found this at the same rummage sale as those dolls that I just showed you. So it was a pretty good sale that I had gone to. I basically found an entire like plastic box, and it was marked Polly Pocket Disney World with $1 on it for the whole thing. So obviously I had to get it, being the Disney fan that I am. Brought it home and set it up, and I didn't have the castle. You see here in the photo, there's actually a castle there. I had like all the train track, I had the train, I had several of the characters and the little figures, and I had several rides. I think I had like the Peter Pan ride, and the teacups, and just a few more, and lots of just like the little bits. So what I did is I lotted it all together. Like I said, I got it at the rummage sale for $1, and someone overseas bought it for within that $40 to $60 range again. Now I can't show you my exact listing unfortunately on eBay, because both of these things I just showed you actually sold more than 3 months ago, therefore I can't go back that far on eBay. So I'm using other people's photos as an example just to let you know, but they're the same item, just I obviously had my own individual listing. And I just thought it was really cool. So my kids and I set it up, we played with it for a while, and then I realized I had nowhere sensible to store it or display it, and so life must go on, and I sold it. Okay, next item was a favorite simply because of the style and also because of the return on investment that I got. So these actually sold on eBay. This is my listing on Poshmark. I can show you where I had to sort of deactivate it, make it not for sale. And they were Donald J. Pliner, and they were the MAC black studded tall moto boots. That's like what I got from the style number. Now I picked these up at a yard sale. It was one of my favorite yard sales of all of 2019. I have a great haul video that I'm just still so excited about what I found there. It was my best shoe haul ever is what I called it, because it just so was, and this was part of it. So I ended up paying $2.50 for this pair of boots. I grabbed them purely on style. As you can see here, I knew that Donald J. Pliner was a good brand, but I just loved the style. They There was a tiny little tear to one side where the buckle was, nothing crazy. I managed to disclose that, all that good stuff. And anyway, they sold on eBay within about a month of listing for $200 plus shipping. So that is a pretty good return investment on a $2.50 purchase from a yard sale. So they are definitely in my top 10 of this year so far. This item was one of my favorites, and I also managed to find it and sell it twice this year. So there we go. Let's see if 2020 I find it again. Here's to hoping. So it was from the 90s, Disney. It was all embroidered and had all of the like Fab 5 plus Daisy floating with balloons and stuff. First time I sold it for $30 as shown here. Second time I found it and sold it for $25. Both times I found them at rummage sales for like pennies on the dollar or under basically. And I just love my vintage Disney clothing. This shirt made me so happy. I would have loved to have kept it. Neither time was it my size, so it really wasn't necessarily worth me keeping it. It didn't fit quite the way that I would have wanted it to, but I'm so glad I managed to reunite it 2 times with people who would love it. These are a brand that was new to me this year, and I just kind of wanted to share it with you guys. So I fell in love with these shoes. I found them at the thrift store. They were Everlane. Let me show you the logo if you haven't seen it before. You can kind of see it in there. Maybe I've got a better photo. Let's just scroll. Here we go. That's a better one. Everlane. You can see right there. So I found them at the thrift store, and they were $14.99 at the thrift store, but the quality was just, it was so obvious, like just touching them and things like that. It was like this very, very soft pebble leather, and they had never been worn. They still had some of the like the tag stuff underneath, but they didn't have the box or anything with them. Anyway, I decided to go for it and pay up for the $15 after looking at some comps, and they sold in under 12 hours on Poshmark for the $90 that you see here. But it's not just about the fast flip and the good return on investment. It's also just such a nice product to have found and to have been able to resell. Honestly, these shoes were so awesome. If they'd been my size, I would have been tempted, but I'm glad that they weren't so that I could sell them. All right, these just kind of go in my like super obscure side of things. Converse Platforms, which honestly I didn't even know existed until I found these. And I found these at the same yard sale that I found the Donald J. Pliner boots that I just showed you. So again, $2.50 is what I paid for these. They were awesome. They were really cool. How much were the platforms? Let me see. They were and 1 1/4 inch tall, just the platform portion alone. Like, I just thought they were so fun. And there was something that I like and ahed over a little bit because I wasn't sure if they were just a little too out there for somewhere like Poshmark. But lo and behold, they sold in, I think it was under a week for the $50 that you see here. So just goes to show that kind of quirky does sell. These I wanted to show you because it's kind of a cheat. I didn't really thrift these in terms of how they look right here, but I wanted to show you because this was kind of a big deal for me this year. I tried something new. So I actually found these vintage silver tab Levi's like from the 90s at a rummage sale, and I really liked them. They were the high rise, like the high waist kind of mom jeans with tapered legs. They had all that good stuff going for them, but unfortunately they had some marks, like they had some discoloration on like the knees and the behind and all that kind of stuff, and there wasn't much that I felt I could do with them in terms of selling them as is. So I tried my first upcycle, which is how they turned out here. So these went from a normal pair of jeans that I bought, and I turned them into cutoffs, and I distressed the edges, and then I dip dyed them in bleach. Now there were still unfortunately some like small marks. You can kind of see it over there on the left hand side just below the pocket, a little bit of a mark there that I just couldn't get away even with bleach. But I was really proud of these. I really enjoyed doing it. It was fun to have a new project, and it definitely showed me that when you can get things cheap enough, like these vintage shorts and things like that, or vintage jeans I should say, and if you have just a little bit of time to experiment, and maybe if you can streamline the process, there is definitely profit to be made there upcycling vintage clothing too. So these sold on Poshmark for $35. This item was also from the same yard sale as the boots and those platform Converse. What a yard sale that was, let me tell you. But it's in my like top 10 because I just really liked it. Again, it's got that kind of quirky feel to it, as it were. And it was Polo Ralph Lauren. It was a size 3X men's. It was a fleece, and it was this like Nordic kind of look with all the reindeer and snowflakes and all kinds of stuff. I just thought it was a really, really cool piece. I I enjoyed finding it, I enjoyed listing it and all that kind of stuff, and it sold very, very quickly within just like 2 weeks or so for the full asking price on eBay of $79.99, plus the shipping as well. So it was, again, a great flip, but more than that, it was just a really fun piece for me to find. I really like those kind of quirky novelty prints. This kind of goes in line as well with some of the quirkiness. This one was on Etsy is where it's sold, and this was like the ultimate ugly Christmas sweater. Like, I like a good ugly Christmas sweater, especially vintage ones to sell online, but this had it all. So it had two scenes. The front scene was these kids looking at this snowman. They were going skiing and stuff, and bear in mind there's all kinds of details, like the nose, the carrot nose on the snowman was an actual like carrot shaped button that was sewn on, and that kind of thing was all over it, that level of detail. And then on the back, the snowman is melted. It's so sad. It's the most tragic, ugly Christmas sweater I think I've ever found, but it was also very, very awesome. And this sold on Etsy for $49.99 in just under a month. And the very last item, my number 10 item of my favorite thrift finds of 2019 is this bad boy, and it's a vintage Mickey Mouse or vintage Disney necktie. And the reason why I like it so much, I do pick these up whenever I find them, and I find that they sell very well, but I have just never seen a scene like this before. And I really enjoyed the fact that it was kind of quirky in that way. It was kind of unique. It's Mickey Mouse looking like kind of scared and stuff, trying to pull down his shutters because there's a big old storm outside. Usually you get them like really jolly and jovial and stuff, but this really made me think of like the vintage Mickey Mouse shorts and things like that, and I just really enjoyed the element of it. So when I found it, I absolutely had to scoop it up, and again, it sold really quickly in just a week or two on Etsy for $24.95, and this was also a rummage sale find. Alright you guys, I hope that you enjoyed this video, and please do stop by down in the comments and let me know what your absolute favorite thing is that you found this year when you were out thrifting, whether it was yard sales, garage sales, rummage sales, thrift stores, whatever it was. I would love to know what the wildest and weirdest thing is that you came across that you managed to flip for profit. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a thumbs up. If you're new here and you would like to come back and see more thrifty reselling content, please think about hitting subscribe down below, and I will catch you in the next video. Bye you guys.